People, it's your boy Vin in the house. About to do some what do you call it? An Ask Me Anything? Maybe I should update the title. Ask Me Anything. Let me update this title. Actually, no, I put Ask Me Anything on there. Ask Me Anything. Let me do that. Ask Me Anything. Yeah, so I just figured I'd hang out for a little bit. Hang out with you guys, considering it's the end of the week or the begin. Uh, I think we lost an hour, right, with this daylight savings abomination that's fallen upon us. So I figured, hang out for an hour or two or three or one with a couple of your closest friends on the channel. I haven't done one of these streams in like a month or two or three, so I figured, hey, Tom Brady's back, so that's good. I agree with the big homie. He said he had unfinished business. Obviously, that's true. There's no way in the world that Tom could have ended his amazing career in such a ridiculous fashion as to call a zero blitz in the midst of, whatever. So, glad that that's happening. And, having said that, man, it's been a hell of a week. The crazy thing about this week is like, what's going on, Brandon? Yeah, Scott Hall's got. I heard he's on life support. That's a guy. I feel like Scott Hall was probably one of the most underrated guys in WWF in that whole time period. That Razor Ramon character was in unbelievable character, and I loved him. My sister's very sad that Tom is back. She's sick of him. I love it. That makes me even more happy. Perkinos in the house. What's good, Perky baby? What's good, Perky baby? How can you not be post-millennial when Tom Brady has returned? You gotta believe in a good future if Thomas Edward Patrick Brady is in the house. Kyle, was it Hernberger in the house? What's going on, Kyle? Hernsberger in the house. I want to make sure we're pronouncing the name correctly. Shout out to Kyle Hernsberger. Yeah, man. Alden in the house. Big A in the house. Hola Diablos Blancos when they arrive. Shout out to the Los Diablos Blancos. Shout out to them. We got some heavy hitters in the house. Steph is one of the most brilliant, historically competent people I've ever met in my life, at least in the virtual world. So shout out to him. M. Diggy in the house. Michelle. Yeah, Middle Earth, you called it, bro. You said Brady'd be back. Gotta give it to you. You did make that call. You prophesied, my brother. Good to see you, Kyle. Johnny Haas in the house. I didn't send you the address already? Johnny, text me. Text me right now. You have my number, right? Johnny Haas? Text me right now, and I'll send you my thingamajiggy. Pretty good on science and engineering as well. Not the worst reverend either. Yeah. If I was in a touring band, Steph, I would have Perk as my confessor, and then you would be you'd be the designated priest for Mass. If Soraya and I were in a touring band. And whether or not you volunteer to be completely out of your decision, because I would just decree it and make it so. But that would be the ultimate touring band right there. I could die a happy man with one tour with that situation. Perk in the house. You streaming on both channels. Yeah, Alden. Elio Mike in the house. What's good? Haven't talked to Elio Mike in a long time. Good to see you, man. I hope everything's going good for you, my guy. After all the metal you have seen, who's your favorite guitarist so far? Yeah, you got the wrong number. Okay, let me private message you, Haas. Haas, message me again. Hold on, let me find Haas and give him my updated number. Or maybe I still have you as Haas in my thingamajiggy here. I miss your videos, dude. Hello, atheists. Haas is my guy. Spent most of the day on video games, even with a messed up PS4 and controller. Yeah, we did. Me and the kids. It's Kids Day on Sunday, so me and the kids we did Fortnite, and we got a W. So I'm pretty happy about that. BC in the house. Dive into finance in the house. Are you going to make a bracket for March Madness and play with us? Yes, I am, actually. Yes, I am. I think that should be published by 5 o'clock EST tomorrow, actually. Everything's great. Still been lurking. Just haven't been able to make a live stream. Elden Ring is kicking my... Yeah, everybody's talking about Elden. So what is Elden Ring? What's going on with that thingamajiggy? Favorite guitarist is always going to be Head from Korn, because he's the guy that basically single-handedly got me into metal. New metal. You can do what you will with that. Dimebag Darrell. I did not know... For some reason, when I first got into metal, I did not know what I was looking at, what I was seeing with Pantera. I didn't like Pantera initially. I didn't like the walk riff. I didn't really like the walk riff. It wasn't really I wasn't really a thing. You know what I'm saying? Then we started the channel, and man, Dimebag hit on every single song, and solo-wise. I think if it wasn't for Head and the emotional connection I have with the band Korn, I'd say that Dime is probably my favorite, all-around guitarist. Guitar work, as far as band that has my favorite guitar signature, is probably Iron Maiden. And the guitarist I have the most respect for may not necessarily be my favorite, but the only band that's ever gotten an Omega rating from us. There you go. Okay, Haas, I finally got it. Okay, the only band that's ever gotten an Omega rating from our channel is Black Sabbath. So I just have the most respect for that band and that man. Unbelievable stuff. Night Owl says, thank you very much for the super chat. Holy shit. Have you checked out Sabaton's new record yet? No. I do think we have an album review coming up soon. Operation Mindcrime, I think it's the name of the record. But that's coming in soon. But yeah, I do want to do. I am curious about Elden Ring for sure. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, Applejack. I mean, you and me both. Artem Semekhin, the mayor in the PBS interview, is a full-on Nazi. PBS didn't disclose it to their viewers. When he won his mayoral position, he drove down. Whoa! He drove down the street singing Hitler's praises. There we go. I mean, holy shit, guys. We're in the fucking Twilight Zone. I'll tell you what. Operation Mindcrime will be fun. It's a sci-fi concept thing. Yeah, I think, isn't Mindcrime, don't tell me the specifics, but it's like MK Ultra shit, right? Pretty sure it's MK Ultra stuff. My landlady told me at 8 p.m. that she has to come into my apartment. We don't have a rental contract. Is this legal? You don't have a contact or a contract? I think if you have a rental contract, then they've got to give you 48 hours by law if you're in the United States. If you don't have a contract with them and they own the building, then I think it's basically they're going into their own building. You know what I'm saying? And I think at that point, I don't think you have a lot of rights, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Do you prefer Oreos or carrots? Oreos all day. When I was a kid, I preferred carrots to Oreos though, because I was like, oh, my eyes will make my eyes stronger. Hey, are you the real Russian actor? I work as an actor, director, family, and other matters taking part, and I work with Russian guys in London. I am the real Russian actor. Have you thought doing ASMR videos like tapping, rolling your fingers on the table with both hands like this? No, I feel like that's kind of weird. He likes Oreos so much that he bred one. Very well played, sir. Very well played. Vin, what are your thoughts on Putin? My thoughts on Putin are that every world leader that we have right now pretty much sucks. Any world leader that let me say it this way, any world leader whose name we readily recognize sucks. Whether it's Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, they all suck as human beings. And if we do not, as regular people, come together and use the power that we still have, the future's not going to look bright for us. But I believe in a bright future, so I believe that we're going to figure it out. These people, none of these people have the power they believe they do. We're the ones with the power. And I know it sounds corny and hokey and woo-woo-ish and yay and whatever, but I really, truly believe that to be the case. We have way too many numbers, and if they kill us all, there'll be nobody to rule. And so I don't have a problem with exchanging power for policy. I don't have a problem telling our elected officials and some of the non-elected ones, look, we'll allow you to continue to have power and billions of dollars. You can have it. But here are certain policies we're not going to bend on. And I think if we start doing that, then the sooner we start doing that, the better it is for everybody. That's what I think. Do you think America will default, go bankrupt because of the world on the petrodollar before the Civil War? No, I don't believe that will happen. I don't believe that will happen. We were having similar conversations during the second half of the Bush administration with the gas prices and things like that. I don't know if you guys remember that. We bounced back, and I think that that's kind of where I'm at with it. Hold on, guys. You guys are commenting a lot more than I thought you would. So, I'd like to see. I'm scrolling up here to see you guys because I didn't want to miss anybody. Walter says, "Why are you solo?" Well, because it's 12:44 a.m. I think Soraya is sleeping, and I think she. So that's what she's doing, and I just wanted to hang out with y'all before the week starts. Did you know that Pantera started out as a glammy hair metal band? Yeah, I did. Davey's got combat duty coming up soon. So, Davey, let us know when that's about to happen so that we can be in prayer for you, my guy. What's good, Tony? Tony the Lone Rider. Hey, Tony the Lone Rider Smith is one of our DJs. One of the first to actually do it. So shout out to Tony the Lone Rider Smith. He's a please explain to me and do not evade this question. Why does chocolate taste like chocolate? I see somebody's been listening to Don Hoffman. Yes, dear listener, this is the hard problem of consciousness. This is, we're talking about qualia. Why does chocolate taste like chocolate? Why in our conscious experiences do we have a semi-uniform, we think, experience of colors, shapes, tastes, etc., etc., etc.? And the reason it's a hard problem of consciousness is that we can't even begin to explain it. So I have no idea why chocolate tastes like chocolate, and that is a legitimate answer, sir. The big homie Ben Moen is in the house. The big homie indeed. The church in Kiev is on my latest YouTube video as one of those that is breaking from Moscow. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how you do it. I think that's how you do it. I think you publicly say we're not party to any of this aggressive bullshit, and we're out of here, Putin. And then if Putin wants to go and bomb the shit out of them or murder them or whatever, then that's what's supposed to happen to Christians. We're supposed to die. We do very good when we're dying. When we're doing the killing, not so much. So, if the church in the Russian church in Kiev does a decisive break, I think that the church in Crimea should do the same thing, etc., etc. I think it'd be very powerful, and I also think that the church in Kiev should also condemn Nazism in all of its forms, and I think the obvious repercussions that will happen there are obviously, it's easy for me to say. Now I've got friends that have missionary friends in those areas, so it's easy for me to say. But the church can do a lot if we're willing to actually die the way Jesus tells us to. Experiential consciousness is wild sometimes. What we see as green and red could be completely backwards for someone else, and we'd never know as long as we use consistent names. Right. Well, one of the questions that I had was, how do we know that colorblind people are not seeing reality as it is, and we're not all just hallucinating? I think that's a very, 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 very fascinating question. And I don't think it's as simple as, well, you know, these waves look for, you know, speak to this color. I don't know if you guys remember this whole situation. Does anybody see this as a gold and, okay, type 22 if you see these dresses as gold and white, and type 55 if you see this as blue and black. So if you see this as gold and white, type 22, and if you see this as black and blue, type 55. Ashura says TYT propaganda calling people pseudo. Shout out to TYT. Okay, so if I knew how to do that poll thingamajiggy, my partner in crime is usually the one here. But I would do a poll. So Barry's a 55, Todd's a 22, Enoch's a 22, Kai's a 58, Kai in the house, Steph's a 55, M Diggy's a 22, Rivers 55, Padge is a 22. Gold and bluish white, says White Wolf. Gold and white. Blue, gold, and black. Oh, yeah, blue, gold, and black. I don't know what New York Times thing you're talking about. Eternal Fire says 25. Always got to be a smart one in the bunch. But this is really, really fascinating. Because I've only always seen this dress as yellow and gold. I mean, or gold and white. This is not like chocolate. Chocolate's a chemical compound. I agree. But it's still in the realm of qualia, in the sense that my consciousness is experiencing this as gold and white, and other people's consciousness are experiencing this as black and blue, which I don't understand how you can see black and blue at all in any way, shape, or form. But I'm seeing gold and white. And Daniel says black and blue, everyone else is wrong. 55 is the correct answer according to Steph. Nathan is saying he sees Light blue and bronze. Outlaw says gold and white. I see gold and white. Slipknot Sean sees 55. It's very, very, very fascinating. It's really, really fascinating stuff. So you know, it's just the world that we live in, man. It's just so strange. Do you eat or drink ketchup? That's a funny one. PhD author Kaplan wants pharma to withhold any medical supplies and stop selling to Russia. He's a medical ethics professor. Holy shit. So that's a bioethicist saying withhold medical supplies to Russia because that's going to show that Putin, that's not going to radicalize a bunch of Russian kids who see their mothers dying and all that shit. Ultimate Musings has gold and white. The dress is a 2018 time warp. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very fascinating thing, but the actual official color is blue and black, apparently. The folks who created the dress said at the time we didn't even have a gold and white, model. So it was literally impossible for the dress to have been gold and white. But to this moment, I hear what they're saying, but to me, it's still a gold and white dress. And Sori saw it also as gold and white, and now she can see it as black and blue. She claims. I don't understand that at all. But it makes you really question. And then you think about Plato and the guys in the cave, right? And it makes you question your epistemology. Is it even possible for human beings whose primary means of determining what objective reality is our powers of observation? That calls into question epistemologically if we can ever understand or know anything objectively if we're only limited to the powers of observation. And even if we come up with instruments like microscopes and all these other things, we still have to interpret and observe the data that those machines are giving us. And so we're always going to be trapped in this loop, unless, of course, somebody on the outside tells us the actual color of the dress. Do what you will with that, dear listener. Only the dead have seen the end of war. Yeah, that was the introduction. For sure. Paj Mahaj says, "Do you believe the Rothschilds run the world?" No, I don't. I don't believe that there's any single group of people that run the world. I think that there's way too many Excel spreadsheets to keep track of in order for one group of people to run the world. So no, I don't believe the Rothschilds run the world. The dress is fake news. One of the drawbacks from being stuck in our own consciousness is that it can lead to the solipsistic arguments, but it's important to stop short of becoming nihilistic about it. Yeah, I think that Don Hoffman has some, really good alternatives to solipsism. I think the conscious agents theory is a good alternative to that. For me personally, materialism, physicalism is a non-starter. I don't think the hard problem of consciousness will ever be solved because I don't believe that it's a problem in the first place. The hard problem of consciousness is a problem for materialists, but it's not a problem, for example, for panpsychists or conscious agent theorists. It's only a problem if you start from materialism. If you start from material and try to boot up consciousness from that, you're going to have a hard and you try to explain qualia from that perspective. I think you're going to drive yourself mad. So I just materialism is a non-starter for me. But and obviously as a Christian, I could say, yeah, come on, just start with an eternal consciousness and you have no problem, which I agree with to a degree. But the scientific side of my brain, for the last year, I've been playing around with conscious agents theory and Christian theology as far as the makeup of the human being and the human mind and all of the terminology and the overlap and the unique understandings. And it's been a very, very fun exercise for sure. Cassie in the house. Bohemian Grove is just a bunch of old rich guys who get smashed and run around naked for a couple of weeks. Yeah, we were watching that documentary on Ukraine, and we had one of these guys. He was the ex-president of Georgia. They had him on camera, and the guy was eating his tie like a 6-year-old. Like he was literally like chewing on his tie. I'm like, this is one of these guys that's like running the world or running Ukraine or whatever. I think he was the mayor of Odessa or whatever. He was an ex-Jordanian, Georgian. I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm like, guys, this guy's eating his tie. I mean, so yeah, these people are massively, these are very, very evil people, but they're also, to Riv's point, these are goofies. These people are goofy as hell. TYT saying the whole A's off is BS and whitewash. Whoa, Ashura, send me that video. Oh my goodness, that's fascinating. The different perceptions in the image and audio of Laurel, etc., shows how easy the human senses can be tricked, which explains a lot of bullshit supernatural claims. Yeah, but it would also explain a lot of bullshit naturalistic claims too, right? So it's for me, it's a deeper issue than the individual claims that naturalists or supernaturalists make, and it gets more to an epistemological question of is it possible for a person trapped within their own consciousness to ever be able to ascertain objective reality? And at this point, I've never really heard a good argument for why a person trapped in their own consciousness could ever truly ascertain objective reality, other than to say that consciousness would have to be a generator of what we call reality itself. Now, if you can generate reality itself, you would still essentially be trapped in your own consciousness. But because you would be the sole and ultimate reality, then in that sense, you wouldn't be trapped. And I think that's a fascinating discussion to have, for sure. USA gone stir crazy. Yeah, I wonder how much of this is just people being bored. You know what I'm saying? I wonder how much of like a lot of the really like fucked up shit. I wonder like if we're able to look back at world history, especially now that we've got social media and like pretty much everything that our media, who are our current history writers, are telling us is all bullshit. Yeah, it makes me wonder like how much of history is actually, you know what I'm saying? And like if we could go back and see like how many wars had been started just because somebody was like, man, fuck this shit, I'm bored, I want some. Because I know when I was coming up, you know, in the hood and in these like drawn out summer days and we weren't going to school and we just got bored, we would just start doing dumb shit and it escalated and people got really, really hurt just because we were bored. You know, the whole idle hands is a dumb. It's like, imagine, and we were just playing around with, you know, toys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they weren't toys, but you know what I'm saying, right? Versus like ICBMs and nuclear weapons. Like, sometimes it makes me wonder how much of this shit is just you were just bored. You were just bored, so you decided you were gonna go out and do some dumb shit. I don't know. Vin, I need your advice. Well, lay it on me. I might ruin your life. Vin, would you and Sori want to be a guest on me and my friend's new podcast? Sure. Sure, why not? I'd take a crack at it. On the question of what is reality, have you read Philip K. Dick? He had some really trippy ideas. No, I would like to learn about him, though. What about him? Yeah, pow pow, tag, you're it, pretty much. Can I recommend Oliver Stone's The Untold History of the United States? It's a 12-episode detailed look at the history of World War II and after. It will blow your mind. Hell yeah, bro! I'm gonna start that when I get off the channel. My husband and I are going through a rough patch lately because we haven't been intimate because I've been focusing on our daughter. Holy shit, Michelle. Something you'd probably want to email me. I was having a conversation with one of our kids last night. And you guys know my parenting style is a little weird, a little unorthodox. And so, we were having a pretty frank conversation about some things. And I said, well, that's because I was focusing on me and your mom. Because me and your mom were having a serious disagreement, like one of those running disagreements that you have in marriages. And I said, so I was focusing a lot of my emotional energy on fixing that and making sure that was straight. And so for that little interim, I didn't have much for you guys. I said, she's my number one priority in the house. So, and I told her, and I said, now when you get married, you should adopt the same philosophy. You should always put the marriage before the kids, because if kids can deal with a little less emotional availability, but they cannot deal with divorced parents. Now, it's not that we were going to get divorced and things like that. Obviously, Sarai and I both went through divorces. So, if the divorce track is like track 9, I'm going to stop it at track 2. You see what I'm saying? But the point is that a lot of times when you get kids involved, you automatically have the instinct to put the kid as like the centerpiece of everything, which I completely understand that. I understand the instinct. But for me, and again, a lot of life is about balance. But for me, I think the best thing for the kids is to see two parents who are in love with each other and deeply care about each other and even though they'll be like, ew, mom and dad, it's good for them to see mom and dad hug and kiss and look at each other and all that jazz and make googly eyes. But it's got to be genuine and real. So for me, when we were going through our little thing, I put a lot of my emotional effort and thought into making sure that we were good. And so because of that, there was less of me available emotionally for them for a minute. And so we've got a very open sort of, family system. And so she said, what the hell was going on there? And I said, well, what was going on was that. And she goes, okay, that makes sense. I can accept that. And so, again, very unorthodox parenting. I know it's terrible parenting, but that's where I'm at with it. So that's what I would say. However you can strike that balance. But make sure, especially when you're a first-time parent, the instinct is always to, prioritize the kid in each and everything. But the best thing for the kid is to have parents who are deeply in love with each other. That's my perspective. I signed up for a dating site. I don't think that this may have been my most clever idea. I don't know, Cass. I don't know. I think it's one of those situations where I don't think you're going to be on there as a free agent for very long. I think once people see you and then they talk to you, that'll be that. I guess the only thing is to the paradox of choice. You go to Burger King and there's like too many fucking, you know what I'm saying, on the menu. So I think your problem is going to be, which of the guys do you, whatever. I wish my parents got divorced when I was 5. They waited until I was 32. Yeah, I think it's a lot. What I was talking about was a lot different than stay together for the kids type stuff, right? So what I'm talking about is like digging and doing the work, instead of just pretending and smiling and not. Which, by the way, the stay together for the kids thing is another way where married people prioritize the kids over the actual marriage. And by that time, when you're in stay together for the kids mode, which I was in my previous marriage, it's almost a done deal at that point, unfortunately. Are you happy TB12 came out of retirement? Yes, I was very happy. I lost my mind. I lost my mind, for sure. What happened with the Jimmy Dore interview? Do you have any other interviews in the pipeline? I do have other interviews in the pipeline, considering that Jimmy Jackson, obviously not comparing myself to those guys, but the perspective that Jimmy, Jackson, Hinkle, and a couple other people seem to be in the minority, there's like a small little ecosystem. So we're all going to be talking on it. I think actually Jackson is talking to Jimmy right now, actually, if you could probably talk to him. Just he's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the Jimmy Dore clip was about an hour and a half or something like that. I don't know where it is. I sent it to my I've got an expert. I've got somebody that's really good, and the echo was just so fucking horrible. That I just felt like, this is just horrible. I can't do Jimmy. I can't do Jimmy like that. I can't do the audience like that. I don't know. So I felt bad about releasing it, but I do have Jussie Smollett got moved to a psych ward. Well, he got moved to a psych ward. Okay, as a person who spent a lot of time in a psych ward as a patient, and I'm not ashamed of that. I love talking about that because I think we need to demystify mental health issues. I don't know if he truly, in my mind, I'm gonna say, oh, this is his privilege. He's rich, yada yada yada. He can't even do the 150 days, but we don't truly know this guy's mental state. So if experts looked at him and said, yeah, he's not psychologically, fit to be in Gen Pop, put him in the psych ward. Okay, fine. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. For fear of self-harm. Yeah, and he may. What's your thoughts on parallel universes? Well, part of me feels like I don't know what a parallel universe would be, because whatever that parallel thing is, wouldn't that just be part of the universe? I mean, part of this is like, how do you define what the universe is? To me, the universe is everything, every aspect of creation, right? Because I'm a theist. So to me, God exists outside of the Big Bang and is the initiator, cause, and the post-organizer of the Big Bang. So even if there are parallel universes, to me, they would still be one thing, namely the created order. But even if I wasn't a theist, I'd say, okay, there are universes operating parallel to this universe, or I probably, if I was not a theist, I would say I would be more comfortable with terminology like parallel reality versus parallel universe, because whatever is paralleling our universe, I would say that's still part of the universe. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I believe in parallel universes depending on how you define what the term is. Did I listen to Ghost's new album? No. We both appeared on the Drip podcast with Amish a while back. Who's we? Applejack? Who's the we there? For sure. I just sent you the clip. Jen had a meltdown without naming Jimmy, Max, and Aaron, but went after the CODIS fake leftists for using Azov as an excuse to defend Putin. Which, of course, Jimmy, I've never heard Jimmy defending Putin. Jimmy is just, shout out to Steph. Yeah, Steph is on point for sure. Shout out to Steph. Yeah, so that's my take on parallel universes, I think. Vin, how many other languages? I can speak enough Arabic to try to not get myself killed, and enough Spanish just because of growing up in the Bronx. And in the Bronx, that's your Diego Rodriguez. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much. €5 super chat. Shout out to Europe. If you create a pond, you don't live in it the way I think of our universe. Expand on that. Speak or read? Speak. Vin, honest question. What is more racist? Trump's rhetoric inspiring white nationalists or Biden's previous policy of criminal justice? I mean, Biden... I really don't care about words. You know, part of that has to do with the fact that I'm an immigrant. When I first came to this country and I started going to school in this country, day one, walking home from school, white boys calling us nigger. I had no idea what nigger meant. So I went home. I said, Mom, what's a nigger? She said, oh, it's what the white boys say when they're afraid of you. Just punch a kid in the mouth and just keep it moving. So, you know, the scripture says honor your father and mother. So the next day I went to school, kid said some reckless shit. So I two-pieced him. Why that? Because I honored my mother. She told me to two-piece him. What could I do? I don't care about words. I really, really, really don't. I do care about... I grew up without my father, though. Not because of any of Biden's policies. So any policy that systemically takes fathers out of their homes of their children, I think is destructive. Maybe you say, if you were to replace the term racist with, who has been more destructive to black people and black advancement in America, I don't think anybody can question that it's been Joe Biden. Are heaven and hell a part of the universe or separate from him? I've been doing a lot of thinking, actually, and reading about and discussing about heaven and hell. And I think the answer to the question is both. Because heaven and hell are the Bible's ways of describing people's experience of God insofar as they love or hate him. So let me try to flesh that out. You got one passage that says that there is a stream of fire coming from the throne of God. You have another passage that says a stream of water comes from the throne of God. You got one passage that says the wicked dwell in the lake of fire, and then you have another passage that says the righteous actually dwell within everlasting burning. What's fascinating about the metaphor of fire is that the first time fire is actually used in a divine sense is actually the presence of God. Abraham sees God in the presence of fire. Moses sees God in a burning bush as fire. The Israelites see God as fire at the top of the mountain. So fire is an actual metaphor of God. Fire is used in the Song of Solomon to speak of love, God's love. So fire is used most of the time to speak of the presence of God. Now, God's presence obviously would be outside of creation. What I think is happening in the afterlife is that because God is an omnipresent being, there's no place where God cannot be. If you love God, you're going to experience Him as an exhilarating. It would kind of like be like if you had some sort of asbestos suit that you could. If I said to you, if you give me $1 million, I'll give you a trip right into the center of the sun. If you could get there. I think everybody, especially folks who are scientifically inclined, if they had that kind of capital, they would say, absolutely, sign me up tomorrow. And so I think what's happening in heaven and hell is that people who love God want to be in the center of the sun and enjoy it. People who hate God cannot stand being in the center of the sun. And because their resentment of God makes it so that they can't stand to be where He is, they experience that same heat in a negative way. And because we're created beings, there has to be some place outside of God Himself for us to live. And insofar that is, heaven and hell have actual locations, if that makes any sense. Because we were created to be physical beings, and I think we'll be physical beings for all eternity. So that's the answer to the question: is heaven and hell created, a created or uncreated place? And I would say, it would be ontologically uncreated, but experientially created, if that makes any sense. Daniel, you probably understood every word that I said, and probably 3 other people did. So the answer was for you. Yeah, that's the thing about Cenk. Like, Cenk for years. I mean, he's since walked it back, so kudos to him. But for years, Cenk denied the Armenian genocide. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be wrong about Azov, in my opinion. Pony says, Mystics' use of incense versus witchcraft and tarot. Why is one allowed but not the other? I have more questions, but this is my mind at the moment. Well, I think it's the same principle as eating the forbidden fruit. I don't think knowledge was the problem. I think it's getting knowledge outside of God is the problem. And so I think God is such a relational being that look, when you're married to somebody, right, there are certain acts that you only want you and your mate to do. And even though those acts are good in themselves and produce a good benefit, like, let's say, pleasure, the relationship itself gets destroyed when that pleasure is experienced outside of the relationship. And so I don't really look at my any of God's rules as much as it tells me something about God's emotional life. And so that's why I think tarot and all the other ones are out of bounds, is because they're not it's kind of going outside of the household to accomplish something. So I think that's what's going on there. Thanks, my man. If only I could trade some of my vocabulary for some math skills so I could pass my next math quiz. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine with the math quiz. Do you believe humans lived with dinosaurs? Why or why not? Because I think they did. I'm very, 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 very skeptical about the idea that humans ever lived with dinosaurs, unless you're saying like a crocodile or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I think in that situation, yeah. Unorthodox, yeah, my unorthodox parenting is classic Russian propaganda. Facts. Facts. Vin, I have to say, you and Sori push me to extend myself beyond my Wiccan beliefs and expand my knowledge base, and I love you and Sori for that. Yeah, I think all of you guys have done that with us. You know, our pagan friends have done that with us. We've had to rethink a lot of things as well. Things like, why are modern evangelical Christians terrified of nature, and why are our pagan friends seem to be more in tune with nature? And you know, when God first created us, He didn't put us in a church; He put us in a garden. It's like, seems like the pagans kind of have the, you know, the leg up on that. So we've learned, I've learned from you guys a lot, as well. So it's a two-way thing. Yeah, inshallah, we can see Amorphous soon. Anna Cartesian, Cartesian. You mean Casparian? Of Armenian descendant doesn't go nuts that the show is called The Young Turks. Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to me. You know, I don't I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But I think she's got a personal relationship with Jenk, and I think she really loves and admires Jenk. There's kind of like some big brother, little sister energy there, and I think she was willing to overlook that because, and I also think that she believes in what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So she's been able to overlook things. That's the best I could do. Carbon dating, strontium dating, fossilization, different geological strata, tectonic plate shift, radon levels, and load more. Why humans and dinosaurs didn't shake hands. Yeah, I would have a really hard time believing that. But I mean, what do I know? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm a kid. I don't know. As a pagan, I love you guys. You're a great couple. I agree that we're a great couple. Mashallah. This go to party. I can't properly pronounce that. The right sector. Yeah, right sector was featured heavily. Azov, C-14, Adar, 79th Air Assault Brigade, National Courts, many more, just to name a few. Ukraine has many Nazi factions. Yeah, I mean, it's there. Arrow in the house. We talked about whether or not the dress was yellow and white versus black and blue. We talked about a lot of things. Nathan wants to know how many pagans are in the house. Vin, also Christ tells his disciples the temple of God is our body itself. Don't look at a building to find God. Seduct. I mean, you're right. I think I've got this book called The Temple and the Church's Mission. And basically, the guy makes the argument that we started in the garden and that God's intention for us was to expand from garden and create a city. Because the city is the pinnacle of human cooperation and human ingenuity, human growth and wisdom. And oddly enough, the first city was built by Cain, the bad guys. And it's Cain and his group that were expanded into cities. The first biblical mention of a city, let me put it that way. Created music, started playing with metallurgy, all that type of stuff. And so what he's saying is that it was always God's intention for us to mature and grow from being babies in the garden, walking around, you know, to expand out into the city to dominate nature in such a way as to get it together and live. And so when you get to the end of the Bible, you have as Beale puts it, a city with a temple that's garden-like. So you have city, temple, garden, and that triangulation is supposed to be the pinnacle of all human existence. And that's our mission in the entire universe, or universe is to constantly gardenize, beautify the universe, make it a city in the sense of pinnacleizing human evolution, and or as Paul would say, going from glory to glory. In a sense, we could at some point figure out how to evolve ourselves as we apply those principles of being an image bearer of God. And as such, you would have this sort of marriage of scientific theory and biblical, you know, worldview. I mean, the scripture says that we're going to be glorified. Um, and so there's a lot of implications to that. So I don't know if that answers the question, but there you go. I agree. Do you think there's a lost city of Atlantis? Who's that guy on Joe Rogan? I forgot his name. There's a guy on Joe Rogan that's really a couple months ago was positing an Atlantean theory. I don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not sure. I don't have an opinion on it. I just want to know your I just want to know your views on black metal. Should black metal be thought of in serious matter like as a lifestyle? It should be purely a style of music. Well, I'm not sure if it's for me to say how black metal should be considered, but I do think if you look at, was it Mayhem and those guys, like it was definitely a lifestyle. You know, it was an aesthetic. It was a musical genre, but it was also a lifestyle and in a way of thinking, maybe a philosophy. So you know, I think it goes on a scale. Like if you look at Eric from Vatane, it seems to me that his black metal is born out of his, you know, chaos theory of Satanism. And I think to him it's something sacred. When we went to the Behemoth show, Sori had a press pass, so she was over the fence. And so before they dropped the curtain, she was actually able to see. They were doing some sort of ritual right before, and this is when they didn't think anybody was looking at them. So I just think it runs a scale as to how people view what they're doing. So it can be. And while all this focus on Ukraine, just want to inform everybody, the U.S. continues since yesterday to continue bombing Somalia. Holy shit. There you go. Having in-laws who are actual communists, being at weddings where relatives who were IRA members, the earlier official IRA, not any provost as far as I know, that gave a real insight. Yeah, Stephen, you're probably one of the more fascinating human beings I've ever, and you know, I talk to famous people, but you've been one of the more fascinating people I've ever seen in my life. Just unbelievable experiences, breadth of knowledge, family, all types of crazy shit. The stuff about Atlantis being a real city has more to do with what I like to call the 19th century ancient Aryans theory. I don't think anyone in antiquity thought Atlantis was real. Yeah. Vin, do you think Satan became ruler of the world because he was the only one out of Adam and Eve that didn't deny his part in Eden? Huh. I don't know, because if you look at the text, Satan is not even given an opportunity to plead his case. God talks to Eve. God talks to Adam. He says, have you eaten the fruit of which I've told you not to do? Then he goes to Eve and says, what have you done? But then he goes to the serpent and says, because you have done this. A serpent doesn't actually speak at all in that text. He doesn't speak to God. He doesn't get an opportunity to. God just automatically curses him. Adam and Eve get the opportunity to confess and be forgiven. Shaitan doesn't even receive the dignity of being able to actually even speak to God in the first place, much less be forgiven or plead his case. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. See what I'm saying? I'm having some, let me go back to Pony. Having some on the fence things going on because my heritage is Choctaw. I can't pronounce that. Irish and Scandinavian. I've always been drawn to more pagan things, but I love God very much. I just don't want to, like, you know, burn in hell or something, but I'm so lost these days trying to figure things out. Yeah. I don't think it's appropriate for any decision, theological or um, practical, to be rooted in the fear of hell. Which, again, take what I have to say with a grain of salt. I'm not a very good Christian. I'm not a very good example of Christianity. So, but I think if you think of things in a more relational sense, then I think you'll have more guidance as to what to do and what not to do. And the other thing is that there are things that are being set up against each other that may not necessarily be actually against each other. That's the other side of it. All right, guys, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Is Lilith in the New Testament? No, she is not. She is not mentioned in the New Testament. There's a proverb that describes when Adam and Eve were leaving the garden, and an angel told Adam to grab a pebble, cast it behind him as they leave. When Adam did, that he heard a rolling of rocks. Looking back, he saw a hill of pebbles, meaning they weren't the first to be cast out. That's interesting. I've never heard that proverb before. You learn something new every day. You learn something new every day, dear listener. I've never heard that parable before, but it's very, very fascinating. Lilith is from the Kabbalah. Yeah, she's Lilith is in the intertestamental stuff, right? The beauty of paganism, we tend to be more accepting of others than others are of us. I know several pagans who also embrace the Christian gods. That's really, really interesting. Well, the pagans in this channel have been very accepting of me, and we've been pretty out and out, Christians. So we've always felt accepted by a pagan friend. So yeah, for sure. Whoa, you've got family that actually met Lenin briefly when he and other communist Bolsheviks were in London. There were socialists and relatives who were MPs, knew them, disagreed with the later so-called self-proclaimed commie. This is what I'm saying. Like, this guy is like the most amazing guy on the planet. Why are there so many damn mysteries in the Bible? Why can't it just be straightforward? Well, there's a proverb that says it's the glory of God to conceal a matter and the glory of kings to seek it out. And again, I just think that if I look at the Bible as a book of rules and syllogisms, then yeah, that could be frustrating. But if I look at the Bible as another aspect of the emotional life of God or a relationship with God, then that chase and that mystery is part of what makes every good relationship work. There's still things about Sarai I need to figure out, and that's what puts a spice in the relationship, I think. If everything was just there and simple for me to understand, then I might get bored. You guys know how my mind works, for sure. As Nathan says, being straightforward can also be a barrier to growth. Sometimes it can't. I think humans made religion in general more complicated than it was intended to be. I also agree with that. Love God, love neighbors. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. Accept God's forgiveness, and build a new world. I mean, that seems pretty simple to me. I'm pretty convinced Azazel was worse than Satan. Azazel had to be immediately changed. Satan's punk ass was allowed to roam for a bit. I agree. I think Shemyaza was probably worse than the devil. I think there's a lot of folks that are worse than the devil. Thoughts on the fascist element that's been in the black metal scene? I speak out against that element when I can, but even still, do you think, can you separate the art from the artist? Yes. I do separate the art from the artist because you have to do that with Martin Luther King Jr. You have to do that with Gandhi. You have to do that with Mother Teresa. And artists are not setting themselves up as paragons of virtue most of the time. I think if you dug into everybody's closet, there'd be like 5 people left to listen to or admire. And so we've actually reviewed a pretty racist. They were an explicit Nazi band. We reviewed it one time, and the music was decent. The lyrics were kind of pedestrian, but I don't believe that sin should disqualify. Look, to me, we're image bearers of God, and we're inheritors of original sin. And so, insofar as a person is an image bearer of God, God is proud of them in the ability for them to make music, manipulate sound waves and gravity and things like that to come out with something that's beautiful and get people to move. But insofar as we inherit original sin, obviously, God is grieved and angered to wrath by the subject matter, right? And so, to me, anytime I look at a person or look at a country or look at myself, I'm looking at people through both of those prisms. And I'm trying to find, okay, where's the image of God here? And if the person is like really horribly bad and they people have like this terrible image of them, I always try to like default to saying, okay, where's the image of God there? And if the person's really good and I admire them too much, I say, okay, well, where's the original sin here? And it helps me balance everything out. So that's what I think about black metal and Nazism or whatever in black metal. That's my thought process. I'd be a racist, but I'm a slow runner. That's good. I study sound waves. Does that make me pious? Yes, to a degree it does, Ian. To a degree it does, because that's part of the project. The first thing God commanded us to do wasn't to pray. It was to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Part of subduing the earth is figuring out how everything works. So that's a holy thing to do, to figure out, okay, sound waves, what are they? What do they do? How do they work? And then what can we do to take that knowledge to benefit humanity, which we've done with music, right? So inshallah, music, especially our brand of music, I was talking to an engineer that's worked with some pretty big bands, and he's like, yo, man, this shit is all noise. And I've got to work with these tubes and other things to turn the noise into something legible. I think that that's amazing. And I think that that's a holy thing for sure. So yes, doing music, doing sound wave work is absolutely a pious thing for sure. Me and Vin rapped. I'm not much of a singer. Yeah. We exchanged some bars. I don't know. We might do one. We might do a TYT. We might do a TYT takedown. I'm not sure. But yeah. New blood joins the earth and quickly. I thought it was heard. I thought it was new blood joins the herd and quickly he's subdued. Yeah, the thing is like Applejack is like a real, like, he's a real live rapper though. Like, he's real about his shit. Like, it's like real, it's real rap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, play around as amateurs, but like that's, he came from New York. You got to have bars when you're from New York. You have to. Oh, okay, it's Earth. Okay, new blood joins the Earth. Okay, so the entire time I thought it was heard. Unbelievable. Yeah, right there. I'm looking at it right now. It says new blood joins this Earth. New blood joins this earth, and quickly he's subdued. Yeah, that's a crazy line. That's a crazy line. This is my last question for the day. If the devil comes up to you and try to tell you his web. Okay, okay. According to Applejack, I had bars too. Okay, I got bars. I got bars, bitch. Boom. You and your dad jammed to The Unforgiven together. That's legit. That is legit. I study music keys to determine which keys convey emotions best. Okay, that's holy, bro. That's absolutely holy, man. For sure, for sure, for sure. I need this to be approved by the bar council. Yeah, I don't know. We might drop a mixtape. We might drop a mixtape. Me and Applejack. I've been working on. Ugh. I sell rhymes like dimes. The only one who mostly keep the cash, but talk about the broke times. Joker rhymes like this is you just happy to see me. Chicks classical slapstick rappers need chapstick. Who's that? That you? Is that you? Negative vibes. Yeah, I got the masters. I got the masters. But oh, MF Doom, rest in peace to the homie. Yeah, I might drop it on the channel. I'm not sure. I was about to just like drop a freestyle a couple days ago on Patreon, but the bar council sounds like the name of a gang of Xanax. What do you know about Xanax? Bitch, you 14. Find out you doing some Xanax. Ask Benjamin how to get in touch with me if you ever want to talk. I lost both my parents in 2010. Yeah, that shit is tough. Tough. And Pony's on her shit for sure, for sure. No clue about the current topic. What's up? Yeah, we're just chilling. Actually, I'm gonna try to like find some beats. Let me try to find some beats here. Applejack, send me some beats, man. Maybe we could do a little freestyle about the world we're currently living in. XBM 79. What did XBM say? Always saying some shizit. Yeah, man. R.I.P. William Hurt. Rest in peace to him, man. Rest in peace to him. It's crazy. MC Vin Shady. Where do you fall on the classical theism versus theistic personalism debate? You had to ask that with 5 minutes. That's a topic I've avoided. You know what? On the next Ask Me Anything, I'll do an opening soliloquy on it. Next, you're going to ask me if I believe in penal substitution or Christus Victor. I don't know, man. That's a deep one. That's a really, really, really deep one for me. Hey, Art Perez in the house. Vin, did you watch the UN Emergency Joint Security? Have you heard of Vosh? Yes, I've heard of Vosh. He's a what do you call it? Right? Why can't I think? He's a he's a YouTube guy, right? Pretty popular YouTube guy. Before I go, Vin, who's your favorite black metal band? My favorite black metal band is what's the name of that band? The Self Crucified Mr. Right Tree. Exercises in Futility. Magua. I don't know why I miss that. Magua is the band. The reason I'm like dodging the question is because it's gonna like then jump into predestination and all that stuff. Perk, which you know. Whoa, the Vosh guy is he's a pedo? I mean, anarcho socialists. Um, MC Mayo. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to joke. I don't want to joke about whether or not the guy is like. I don't want to. I don't want to joke about that. If you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know. No, I feel like I feel like a line should be drawn. That's what I'm saying. You know, especially on the Thomas side, it's gonna bleed into. Well, then that means right XYZ. Right? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that a guy that is that I don't even want to mention the term, but a guy that is that could be that popular. You see what I'm saying? So it makes me pause and say, really? Like, how is that possible? But yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that he is that and he has such a massive art audience. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely not. He just made an argument that gets taken out of context. Okay. All right. That shit is crazy to me. Mutilated Tyrant's one of my favorite black metal bands. I bet. I bet. Isn't 1619? That's one of Yaek's ones, right? I just love the Exercises in Futility record from Magua. Those guys, unbelievable. And Batushka would be my second favorite black metal band, I think. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. Inshallah, my wife is still kind of awake. I said 5 minutes, I think 15 minutes ago. I could do that, right? Give me a sec. Do what? Ashura Vash. Let me take that off the screen. Well, he was playing video games and said that because they underage characters in the game look fine. They should lower the age. Yikes. Yeah, I don't really know the homie, man. I don't really know the homie, so I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't really say I feel uncomfortable talking about him, you know what I'm saying? Cuz I don't know him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Craig's assumptions that libertarian free will is true is what has led him to arguing in favor of stuff like Molinism, which gets close to being a bit. Well, Craig, Craig, yeah. I mean, for me, he's a philosopher. He's a philosopher. He's not a theologian in the proper sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't even. To me, he has an emotional commitment to libertarianism as far as the will goes. It's not even a theological commitment. It seems to be an emotional commitment to it. And when you combine that with a gigantic intellect, which I think he obviously has, you end up getting a lot of really crazy shit, in my opinion. Send me the tweet, man. Yeah, that's because my Gatorade is like really nasty right now. Who is this? If Rambo and Terminator went at it, who kills who first? Well, you got to go Terminator, right? Like he's not a real. He's not a real. Well, I don't know. You gotta get. No, I'd give it to. It depends on which model of the Terminator. So if it's a Terminator from Terminator 1, I'll give it to Rambo. Because like a regular human being beat the first Terminator, right? If it's a Terminator from Terminator 2, then I gotta give it to Arnold. Well, Arnold was the first Terminator 2, wasn't he? Now I'm talking about T-1000. If Rambo had to go up against T-1000, I gotta give the nod to T-1000, bro. You got to give it to T-1000. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you got to give it to T-1000. Mayhem next week live in Tampa. Meet up with me if you're going. There you go. You know what else is in Tampa? I got a friend that I'm trying to get to move to Florida. I've been trying to get him to move to Florida since like a couple months ago. So when Tom Brady did this thing, I sent off a text. I'm like, yo, Florida's looking real good right now, particularly Tampa. I told the homie, come to Tampa. So cross your fingers, because if this guy comes to Tampa, we going to the Super Bowl. Inshallah, we'll see. Let me look at this thing. Holy shit. Damn, Applejack. That shit is crazy, bro. That that's weird. Hey, Kai in the house. WhatsApp with your daughter? Oh, obviously. Pony, obviously. You can help us find a house for sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy, guy. T-1000 was killed in a warehouse. Convenient and open air would not be favorable to Rambo. True. I agree. An open area would not be favorable to Rambo. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of Dodge. I said that like a half an hour ago. I'm gonna get out of Dodge. We're gonna see you guys tomorrow. I think we got a DJ stream. We got a DJ collab stream coming up very, very soon here. So get ready, y'all. Get ready. It's about to go down. I think the DJ stream is actually tomorrow, inshallah. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. All my middle Americans, gang, much love to all you guys.